What is NotebookLM? Today, we'll answer a very basic but very important question. What is NotebookLM? We're going to look at what it actually does, why it exists, and what makes it different from your regular AI tools or search engines. Whether you're writing a paper, studying for exams, or trying to make sense of your reading material, NotebookLM might just become your favorite tool this semester. What is NotebookLM? NotebookLM is an experimental AI tool created by Google. The LM stands for language model, but don't worry about the technical side. What matters is this: NotebookLM lets you upload your documents like PDFs, notes, or readings, and then ask questions directly based on that content. It's like having an AI that reads your study material for you, and then helps explain it, summarize it, or pull out important points, but only from the stuff you give it. That's the key difference. You're not searching the internet, you're working inside your own material. What makes it useful? Think about your real workload. Example 1. Organizing class readings. Let's say you have a 30-page PDF reading for sociology class. It's dense, full of theory, and hard to get through in one sitting. You upload it to NotebookLM and ask, summarize the author's argument in simple terms. You now have a clear overview before even diving into the reading, helping you spot the important parts faster when you do read it. Example 2. Reviewing lecture notes on a laptop. Suppose you are reviewing Google Docs from a group project or notes you took in class. You upload them to NotebookLM and type, what are the 3 main points we discussed about renewable energy? NotebookLM scans the content and gives you a direct, structured response, saving you from rereading everything manually. Example 3. Preparing for a quiz. Before a quiz, you upload your notes and ask, can you quiz me on this content? Or, what terms or concepts should I remember from this document? Now, it's not just about reading, you're interacting with your notes in a way that helps you retain more. Key features of NotebookLM. Document uploads. You can add your own PDFs, Google Docs, or pasted text. It's your notebook, your content. AI-powered Q&A. You can ask specific questions like, what is the main argument in this article? Or list key dates mentioned. Summaries and clarifications. NotebookLM can simplify complex text, define terms, or give you a chapter overview. Organized sources. Everything you upload stays grouped and labeled, making it easier to reference. Private and focused. It doesn't pull random information from the internet. It only works with what you provide, which means fewer distractions and more trust in the answers. Why it matters to you. Whether you're prepping for finals, writing a paper, or just trying to stay on top of weekly readings, NotebookLM helps you cut through the noise. It saves time, boosts comprehension, and gives you a sense of control over your material. You don't need to be a tech savvy or know any coding. If you have ever used Google Docs, you're more than ready to use NotebookLM. Real-world examples. How students, writers, and professionals use NotebookLM. Students, studying smarter, not harder. Meet Alexa, a second-year biology student. Alexa uses NotebookLM to manage her exam prep. Instead of flipping through 3 textbooks and 10 Google Docs, she uploads all the notes and lecture slides in a single notebook. Before each study session, she asks, what's the difference between mitosis and meiosis based on my notes? List the 5 key functions of the cell membrane mentioned in the lecture slides. This helps her target the exact content she needs to revise, and she avoids wasting time scrolling through files. Common student use cases. Summarizing dense chapters. Quizzing yourself before a test. Clarifying definitions and key terms. Creating outlines for assignments based on course material. Writers. Planning, outlining, and rewriting. Now, meet Marcus, a freelance content writer. Marcus writes blog posts for clients in different industries. He uploads client briefs, reference material, and previous blog posts into NotebookLM. Then he asks, what tone is used in the previous post? Can you generate 5 outline ideas for an article about remote work trends? Instead of starting from a blank page, he gets a structured starting point. Common writer use cases. Analyzing tone or voice from past content. Generating outline drafts based on source material. Pulling quotes or stats from long research documents. Rewriting clunky sections based on existing notes. Professionals. Keeping work clean and centralized. Lastly, here is Sarah, a project manager. She manages a team across multiple departments. Before weekly meetings, she uploads updates, emails, and team notes into NotebookLM. Then she asks, summarize this week's team feedback. What were the main blockers reported by marketing? This lets her prepare talking points, understand patterns, and keep communication tight. Common professional use cases. Summarizing meeting notes across departments, pulling project insights from different documents, creating executive summaries, preparing internal reports quickly. What do these examples have in common? Less searching, more understanding. NotebookLM helps cut through the clutter and focus on what matters. No more starting from scratch. Whether it's a study guide or a blog post, users are building on their existing work. Custom to your work. It's not answering based on the internet. It's answering based on your material. Flexible for different goals. Whether you're studying, writing, or managing people, NotebookLM fits into the workflow. NotebookLM is not just a note tool, it's a thinking partner. Whether you are a student, a writer, or a team leader, this tool helps you move from scattered files to organized insights. Try it yourself, logging in and navigating the interface. Think of this as your guided tour. We'll walk you through logging in, finding key features, and trying your first simple interactions. By the end, you will feel comfortable navigating NotebookLM and ready to make it part of your workflow. Step 1. Accessing NotebookLM. Open your laptop or desktop browser. NotebookLM works best on larger screens. The first thing you will have to do is you can just click in here, scroll down a bit, and here you can see you have an option called NotebookLM. When you just click on that, here you can see this is the interface. Or you can use this URL to access NotebookLM at any browser. No downloads, no installations, just a browser window. Step 2. Your first look at the dashboard. When you log in for the first time, you will land on the main dashboard. Here's what you will see. A sidebar on the left. This area is where your notebooks will appear once you create them. This is called the sidebar. Center workspace. A blank space now, but it's where all your notes and AI responses will live. Top toolbar. Includes options like new notebook to start a fresh workspace. For that, you can just click in here and new notebook will be created. And you can upload your sources in here. Take a moment to click around just to see the clean and simple design. Step 3. Creating your first notebook. Let's get practical. Click on Create New Book in here. Now, click on Add Sources and upload a short document, perhaps a class handout or a saved document on your laptop. For that, you can just click in here. And for example, you just want to go with this one. So click in here and click on Open. Name it something easy, like for example, Test Notebook. For that, you can just click in here and Test Notebook. And that's it. You will now see your document listed under the sources section of your notebook. Here you can see you have a source in here. When you just go back, and here you can see you have a test notebook in here, and you can reopen it at any time you want. Step 4. Navigating the interface. Sources tab. Here you can open, rename or remove uploaded files. Here you can see this is your source tab. Chat panel. This is where you type questions about your uploaded content. Here you can see this is your chat panel. Studio bar. Here you can create audio overview, video overview, mind map, and reports of this uploaded content. Click through these features and explore what happens. No harm can be done here. You can always delete and start again. Step 5. Asking your first question. This is the fun part. In the chat box, type a simple question like, summarize this document in 5 bullet points. For example, you can just click in here and type in here as, summarize this article in 3 bullet points and press enter. Here you can see you have 3 main points in here. First one, second, and the third one as well. Notice how quickly NotebookLM responds. Try another question to see how it handles follow-ups. Step 6. Experiment with the toolbar. Next, learn the menu options. Rename your notebook. For example, if you want to rename that, you can just click in here and type in here as the title. And here you can see you have the main title in here. Check the 3-dot menu next to your sources. For that, you can just click in here. Here you can see you can remove or rename source as well. Try clicking the copy icon on an AI response to save it in your notes. For that, you can just scroll down a bit. And here you can see you can copy the entire response from AI and save it in your notes. Now that you have seen the interface firsthand, it should feel less like a tool and more like a workspace you can shape. What can you upload? Supported files and formats. Supported file types. Let's start with the basics. As of now, NotebookLM supports the following. Google Docs. For that, you can just click in here as Create New. Here you have multiple options. The first one is Google Docs. You can upload any Google Doc directly from your drive. This is one of the smoothest formats to use because it's editable and already in Google's ecosystem. For that, you can just click in here, go to Recent, upload this file, select this one as we have recently uploaded that, so you can just click in here, click on Insert, and that's it. So this is how you can upload Google Docs in NotebookLM. PDFs. Yes, you can upload your textbooks, research articles, or lecture slides in PDF format. Just make sure they are not scanned images. NotebookLM can't read pictures of text. To upload PDFs, you can just click in here as Create New. Click in here to choose File. And for example, you just want to upload this book, The Alchemist, and you can just click in here and click on Open. And that's it. So this is how you can upload a PDF file in NotebookLM. Pasted text. If you have a chunk of copied content from a website or email, you can paste it directly into a new source. This is useful for capturing short excerpts or quotes. For that, you can just click in here as Create New and click on Copied Text and paste the text in here. For example, we have copied already, or paste in here. Click on Insert. And that's it. It's about climate change, so it just gives you an overview of that. Plain text .txt file. If you're working with a .txt file from Notepad or a Markdown editor, that's fine too. For that, you can just click in here and click on Choose File. Here we have .txt file, AI and cybersecurity, so you can just click in here and click on Open. And that's it. You have uploaded a .txt file in the NotebookLM as well. What makes a good upload? Here's where things get practical. Just because a file is supported doesn't mean it's useful. Let's talk about what to upload and how to prepare it. Good content to upload. Lecture notes, reading assignments, class handouts, article drafts, past essays or reports, project briefs, or research articles. What to avoid uploading? Scanned handwritten notes. AI can't read these. Image-based PDFs without selectable text. Random screenshots. Slides without context or explanation. Documents with too many formatting issues, weird spacing, columns, etc. Practical tip. Before uploading, open the file and try selecting the text. If you can highlight and copy it, NotebookLM can read it. If not, consider converting it to a readable format using OCR, optical character recognition, or retyping the key parts. Make sure the file is under the current file size limit, typically 10 MB. If it's too large, break it into chunks or use a compressed version. Why does upload quality matter? Because AI responses are only as good as the input. If your document has typos, broken formatting, or missing sections, NotebookLM will try to make sense of it, but the answers might be incomplete or confusing. Think of it like this: garbage in, garbage out. Uploading clean, readable material means better summaries, clearer answers, and fewer headaches later. Creating and naming your first notebook. Starting your first notebook. To create a new notebook in NotebookLM, you will usually start from the main dashboard. Look for a Create New button in here. That is direct and straightforward. Once you click it, this interface will be opened and you can skip that for now. Close this window. A blank workspace opens up. This is where all your files, notes, and AI-powered insights will live. But before you upload anything, you should name it first. This might seem like a small thing, but it's where most users either get organized or get lost later. Why the name matters? Let's break this down. If you're working on a term paper, naming your notebook something vague like random stuff or ideas can cause problems later, especially if you create multiple notebooks. Instead, choose a name like Psychology 101, Sleep and Memory Research, Marketing Campaign, Fall 2025, Final Year Thesis, Renewable Energy. These names are clear, descriptive, and help you and NotebookLM's AI understand what the notebook contains. Naming conventions that work. Here are a few practical naming tips you can use. Use course names and topics together. Economy 201, Game Theory Notes. Add dates when needed. For example, Internship, Weekly Reflections, June 2025. Avoid single word titles like research or notes. You will forget what they mean by next week. Stay consistent. If you're making weekly logs or project notebooks, use the same format each time. For example, we just named this file as we are working on a course, so you can just type in here as, remove this time and backspace, write in here as NotebookLM course. So this will be the name of this notebook, and you can press anywhere on the screen, and here you can see this name has been changed. A well-named notebook makes search and navigation easier, especially once you start building more notebooks throughout your semester. Organizing and labeling sources inside your notebook. What happens after you upload? For example, we have created one, as you can just click in here. Here you can see, once you upload files to your notebook, whether they are PDFs, Google Docs, or text files, NotebookLM treats them as sources. You will see them listed in a panel on the left side. The sources or files you will upload, they will appear in here. But just uploading is not enough. If you don't organize these sources, you are setting yourself up for confusion later. Let's break this down into two smart habits: ordering and labeling. Ordering your sources logically. The default order is based on the upload date. That might be fine for short projects, but for complex projects such as research papers or case studies, it's worth taking a minute to reorder them. NotebookLM allows you to drag and drop your sources, so think about a logical flow. Chronological, for timelines, history papers, or lab journals. Thematic, group articles, reports, and readings under common themes or topics. Type-based, for example, placing government reports first, followed by academic papers, then news articles. Reordering helps you quickly scan your items and where to find them. For example, if you add more files in here, you can add sources in here, and you can select any of these as well. For example, you just want to go with Google Docs, go to recent and click on here, gender gap, and click on insert. And here you can see you have two different sources in here. Labeling for clarity. Here's where things really get helpful. Each source has a default title, usually the name of the file. Here you can see we have saved these files by these names. But the title might be too long, vague, or full of numbers. For example, article 32 final.pdf. You can rename each source directly inside NotebookLM to make it more straightforward. To rename the sources, you can just click in here, click on rename source, and you can just click in here and type as lecture notes by Sir Stephen, and click on save. Here you can see you have renamed the source in here, and the original name of the file that is saved in your computer is not affected. Use labels that are short but meaningful. Instead of climate paper, rename it to NASA 2021 climate report. Instead of notes week 2, go to Professor Lee's lecture week 2. If you're using multiple sources from the same author or institution, you can add tag to distinguish them. For example, UN Report Refugees 2023 versus UN Report Education Access 2022. This kind of labeling becomes especially important when you start asking questions inside the notebook. NotebookLM references your sources in the background, and having clearly named sources help the AI provide more accurate and relevant responses. Use consistent abbreviations. If you are labeling multiple items from a recurring source, for example, journal articles from the Lancet, use a consistent short form like Lancet Air Quality 2019 or Lancet Urban Health 2021. It makes your notebook look clean and purposeful. Organizing your notebook is not just about tidiness, it's a thinking tool. The clearer your sources are, the easier it is to connect ideas, cite correctly, and get better results from the AI assistant. Think of your notebook like your workspace. Clean it up, label it smartly, and it will work for you, not against you. How to ask smart questions and get useful answers. Lecture 7. How to ask smart questions and get useful answers. Have you ever typed a question into a tool like ChatGPT or NotebookLM only to get a vague or off-target answer? Chances are the problem was not with the tool, it was with the way the question was asked. What makes a question smart? A smart question is specific. It focuses on a clear topic or detail. Contextual. It's grounded in the content you have uploaded. Purposeful. It reflects what you actually want to learn or use. Let's look at a few examples to compare. Vague question. What's this article about? Smarter version. Can you summarize the main argument in the UN report, Education Access 2022? Why is the second one better? Because it tells NotebookLM exactly what you're looking for and where to look. The power of context. NotebookLM is not pulling from the entire internet. It works with the sources you have uploaded. So, when you ask a question, make sure it includes the title or topic of the source, a time frame if relevant, a focus area like definitions, comparisons, or summaries. For example, what did Professor Lee argue about online learning in week 2's lecture notes? Compare the tone used in the 2021 and 2023 climate reports from NASA. These questions tell the system what, where, and why, and that makes your results sharper. Use follow-up questions. Think of this like a conversation. You can build on a previous question by asking, can you give examples from that source? How does that compare to the other article I uploaded? Can you explain that point in simpler terms? The AI in NotebookLM remembers the thread, so smart follow-up questions help you dig deeper. Questions to avoid. Try to avoid yes or no questions. They are often too limited for deeper understanding. Overly general questions like, tell me everything about climate change. Stacked questions. Asking too many things at once confuses the tool and weakens the answer. Instead, break complex questions into smaller, clearer parts. Using NotebookLM for quick summaries, FAQs, and concept checks. Quick summaries. The smart way to skim. If you upload a long article, lecture note, or research paper, NotebookLM can instantly give you a summary that captures the main points. For example, we have a file in here. Here you can see we have an introduction to criminology, and when you open it, this file has 34 pages. Here you can see. And you cannot read every word of this file. But if you want to extract the main points, let's upload it in NotebookLM. For that, you can just close this one, go to NotebookLM, create new notebook, and add source, and select Introduction to Criminology, and click on Open. Let it upload. So you have uploaded a file in here, and this is a summary of that. The key is to ask is something like, you can just write in here as, summarize the key findings of this article, and press enter. So here you can see you have all these points in here, like crime policy, criminology in context, and crime as a normal phenomena. So every chapter has been explained in 2 to 3 lines, and here you can see, for example, crime as a normal phenomena, and it has been explained in 3 lines or 2.5, you can say. And for example, if you go to criminology research, and it has been explained in these 3 lines. So you have summary of all the chapters in here. Or you can ask in here as, for example, you just start typing in here, and what are 3 main arguments in this article, and press enter. So here you can see the first one is in here, and the second one is in here, and the third one is in here. The entire article has been explained in 3 main arguments. Or you can ask this one as well. For example, what conclusion does author reach in this document? And press enter. So here are the main conclusions, and here you can see every chapter has a different conclusion, so it has been explained in this paragraph. These questions help you cut through the noise and focus on the core message without spending 45 minutes scanning every section. You can also ask for a summary in bullet points or in simple terms, whichever format is most helpful to you. Concept checks. Testing what you really know. One of the smartest ways to use NotebookLM is to check if you truly understand what you have read. Try asking, for example, you just type in here as, can you explain? For example, you just want to read this one, so copy this one and paste in here. Can you explain this idea in simpler terms? And press enter. So it has been explained in simple terms. For example, if you go through this document and you just want to ask, for example, let's say these ones, and you can just copy that, jump to bottom and type in here as what's the difference between, and paste that and press enter. So here you can see experimental design and quasi-experimental research designs and non-experimental designs. They have been explained in simpler terms with strengths and limitations as well. And you can ask questions like this. For example, you just type in here as what does the author mean by, and type a phrase. For example, we have copied this one as encompassing lawmaking, law breaking, and the response to law breaking, and press enter. So we have three different concepts in here, like lawmaking, which means code of conduct, and second we have law breaking, which is a crime basically, and the third one is the response to law breaking, which means the trial of the person who has committed a crime. So basically these are the three different concepts in criminology. You can also ask it to quiz you, like for example you just type in here as give me 3 questions to test my understanding of this article, and press enter. So here you can see you have 3 different questions like criminology scope and perspective on law, distinguishing research methods, and impact of social context and ideology. So if you know everything about that, you know about this article. Or you can type in here as what's one key detail from this article that students often miss, and press enter. So it has given 2 points like contradicts common belief, and the second one is positive functions of deviance. This turns NotebookLM into a study buddy that challenges you to think more deeply, generating FAQs, prepping for class or presentations. Let's say you're preparing to lead a group discussion or write a report. You can ask NotebookLM to help you generate a list of frequently asked questions based on the content you uploaded. You can just type in here as create a list of FAQs from this source and press enter. So you have a list of FAQs with answers as well, like the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth one, and here you can see you can just scroll down and it has given 7 questions with short answers as well. Or you can ask, for example, what questions might someone new to this topic have? So here you can see it has given the questions with the short answers again as well, so that you have the idea as well. So it has given 4 to 5 questions with the answers. And the next question you can ask NotebookLM is like, what are common misunderstandings about this topic? And press enter. So here you can see you have the perception of crime rates versus reality, and media accurate depiction of crime and justice, the possibility of eliminating crime for society. The result: you walk into your class or meeting already knowing what might confuse others and how to explain it clearly. NotebookLM is not just for deep research, it's a powerful tool for everyday studying. Whether you need a fast summary, a concept check before class, or a list of FAQs to prep for a group project, it can help you learn more in less time. The more you practice asking for these small things, the easier it becomes to stay ahead. Clarifying confusing material using follow-up questions. Even with a smarter tool like NotebookLM, not every answer will land perfectly on the first try. But here's the good news: you can keep asking. When you follow up with smarter, more targeted questions, You turn vague or confusing information to real understanding. Why clarification matters. Learning doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes an answer almost makes sense, but not quite. That's your cue to follow up. In NotebookLM, the way you respond to unclear or partial answers is key to how much you get out of the tool. A good follow-up question helps you refine, simplify, or reframe the original explanation. 3 types of helpful follow-up questions. Let's look at 3 common strategies you can use right inside NotebookLM. For example, you just upload a document in here and create new, upload a source. And for example, you just choose this one as global climate change, its consequences and way forward. So you can just open this file. First of all, you just ask it a question in here as, can you explain the term climate change in simpler terms? And press enter. So here you can see you have a response in the simpler terms for climate change, and you can just overview all that, and you can just type in here as, can you rephrase that for someone new to the topic, and press enter. So here you can see it has been rephrased and in simple terms as well, so that the person who is new to the topic can understand that completely. You have to go through all of these points as it has summarized this using this article. And it has explained the term climate change that has been used in this entire document, so that you will have to go through all of these points if you want to know all of that. This is especially helpful when you're working with academic text or complex theories. You're not dumbing it down, you're clearing the fog. Ask for examples. If the concept feels abstract or theoretical, examples can make it real. For that, you can just type in here as, can you give an example of what that means in practice, and press enter. And here you can see it has explained in practical and everyday life as well, so you can just go through all of that. It's about carbon dioxide and deforestation, electricity, so it's all about that has been happening in our daily life as well. And you can follow up with the question as, is there a case study or real life scenario that illustrates climate change, and press enter. So here you can see regional warming and melting ice, extreme weather events, and impacts on ecosystem or wildlife, human health and societal consequences, and all of these are happening at global level. Examples give you something to hold on to, especially in subjects like sociology, history, or business. Ask for comparisons or breakdowns. When something still feels too big to grasp, break it apart. For example, you can ask questions like, what's the difference between X and Y? Can you break this into steps? How does this relate to what I uploaded last week? You are giving NotebookLM cues on how to help you, not just what to say. A sample scenario. Let's say you ask in here as, summarize this paper on climate change in 2 paragraphs, and press enter. So here you can see here's a summary of the entire article in 2 paragraphs. As this article has a lot of stats and percentages, so it has to mention all of those. That's why the paragraphs are a little too long. You're thinking, okay, but what does that look like? Try a follow-up like this. You can just jump to bottom and start typing here as, can you give an example of anthropogenic from this paper and press enter. So here are the examples of anthropogenic as fuel combustion, aerosols, cement industry, land use changes, and cattle breeding. These are human activities that contribute to climate change. And you can follow up with the question as what does irrigation, deforestation, and agriculture mean in this context, and press enter. So here you can see you have all the explanations about irrigation, deforestation, and agriculture as well. You can follow up with, can you explain each term in 1 or 2 sentences, and press enter. That's how you move from surface understanding to actual clarity, drafting ideas and creating outlines with NotebookLM. How do you usually start a big writing project? Do you stare at a blank screen, waiting for the perfect sentence to magically appear? If so, you're not alone. From thought to outline. Why this step matters. Outlining might not feel exciting, but it's one of the smartest ways to save time and reduce stress during the writing process. With NotebookLM, outlining becomes faster and more interactive. You're not just thinking on your own, you're working alongside an AI that pulls directly from your notes and sources. Here's how to do it well. Step 1. Brainstorm with prompts. For example, you just create a notebook in here and upload a source file as, for example, the impact of artificial intelligence on the future, and click on open. Start with simple prompts to generate raw ideas. These might include, for example, you just write in here as list possible angles to explore in this topic, and press enter. So here's a list of possible angles to explore this topic. For example, AI-powered threat detection and prevention, AI-driven cyber attacks and evasion techniques. And the next could be challenges and limitations of AI in cybersecurity. And the next topic would be ethical and policy consideration. And you have multiple options in here that you can explore in this topic. And you can follow up with the question as, what are the pros and cons of artificial intelligence? And press enter. So here are the pros of AI, and when you scroll down a bit, here are the cons of AI, and you can just go through all of these points. You can follow up with another question as, what questions should I consider when writing about cyber security? And press enter. So here's a list of questions that you should consider when writing about cybersecurity. And you can just go through all of that as well. You can jump to bottom. NotebookLM will scan your uploaded materials and suggest relevant directions. This helps you move from vague ideas to clear themes you can build on. Step 2. Group ideas into key sections. Once you have a list of ideas, your next move is to group them. Ask NotebookLM as, write in here as, can you help me organize these ideas into 3 to 4 points, and press enter. So it has summarized the entire article into 3 points. The first one, second, and the third one as this one. You can follow up with the question as, you just type in here as, which ideas support the argument that, for example, you can go with this one, copy this one and paste in here in quotes, is true, and press enter. So here's the explanation that supports the argument that a precarious vulnerability arises where the very AI tools used for defense can be turned against the defenders. And you can follow up with another question as, which points could serve as counter arguments? And press enter. So these are the points that serve as counter arguments, and you can just go through all of that. Think of it like setting up the bones of your essay or project. Step 3. Turn ideas into an outline. Now it's time to build your actual outline. A useful prompt might be, you can just type in here as, create an outline for a presentation based on this material, and press enter. So here you can see presentation outline, the impact of artificial intelligence on the future of cybersecurity, and you have all of these points that you can use in the presentation. And if you're trying to write an essay, you can just write a prompt in here as draft a 5-paragraph essay outline using the uploaded file, and press enter. So here is introduction. Second heading is AI as defensive revolution. The third one is the precarious vulnerability. The fourth one is mitigating risks and building resilient AI defenses. Last but not the least heading is conclusion, navigating the hybrid future of AI and cybersecurity. If you want to organize this outline as intro, body, and conclusion, you can just type in here as organize this information into an intro, body, and conclusion, and press enter. So here's the result, and you can just have introduction, body, and at the end it has conclusion. NotebookLM can generate a numbered or bulleted outline that includes a clear thesis or main idea, topic sentences or section headings, supporting evidence drawn directly from your sources. You can keep revising the outline by asking for tweaks. For example, can you make this argument stronger, add examples to point 2, or switch the order of sections to flow better. This level of control gives you a flexible workspace that grows with your thinking. Study hacks. Create flashcards, quizzes, and essay plans with NotebookLM. Here's a quick question. When exams roll around, do you find yourself rereading the same notes over and over, hoping they will finally stick? If so, you're not alone. But there is a better way. Why passive review is not enough. Reading is only step 1. To actually learn something, your brain needs to interact with it, recall it, apply it, or explain it. That's where tools like flashcards and quizzes come in. They move information from short-term memory to long-term recall. Let's learn how NotebookLM can help you automate and customize this kind of active review. Creating flashcards with NotebookLM. For example, if you want to go with any of the notebooks that you have already created, or you can create a new notebook as well. But for now, for example, we just want to go with this one as climate change. Okay. So you can just give it a prompt in here as create flashcards from this document, and press enter. So here you can see this is flashcard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here you can see, you can just scroll down a bit, and it has created around 19 flashcards. And this is the back, and it involves this one. Or you can just write a prompt in here as list key terms and definitions from this article, and press enter. So there are many terms that have been used in this article. As you can see, global climate change is a term, and next could be volcanism and aerosols, irrigation, cattle breeding, hunger, and reflectivity of the earth, and at the last, carbon footprint. NotebookLM can generate front-end bank style cards you can copy into apps like Ankai or Quizlet, or just for your own self-testing. You can even specify formats. For example, terms and definitions, questions and answers, or concept with examples. Want to make them more complicated? Type in here as turn these flashcards into MCQs and press enter. So here you can see you have question in here, and it has 4 options like A, B, C and D. And it has multiple questions like here you can see you have to explore all of these. It has created 19 flashcards earlier. Quizzing yourself for understanding. Flashcards are great for facts, but quizzes are better for applying those facts in context. NotebookLM can generate mini quizzes based on the content you have uploaded. Try prompts like, write in here as create 5 short answer questions about this article and press enter. So here you can see it has generated 5 questions, the first one, second, and the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one as well, with the short answers. If you want to quiz yourself with MCQs, you can just give it a prompt in here as make a MCQ based quiz about this article and press enter. And here you can see you have MCQs in here with 4 options. Most probably you can extend that as well. If you want to have multiple options, more than 4, then you can give it a prompt in here. Or if you want a quiz with mixed definitions and analysis questions, you can just give it a prompt in here as give me a quiz that mixes definitions and analysis questions and press enter. So here you can see this is a definition question and this is an analysis question, and again definition question, analysis questions. So it has provided alternate definition and analysis questions. You can also ask it to check your answers. For that you can type prompts as here are my answers, how accurate are they? Explain why this answer is wrong. This makes NotebookLM not just a quiz generator but also a tutor, building essay plans from your materials. If you have a take-home exam or an in-class essay coming up, NotebookLM can help you plan quickly and efficiently. For that, you can start with a question as, type in here as, create an essay plan answering as, how does climate change affects the earth, and press enter. NotebookLM can break it down into introduction with thesis idea, body sections with supported points, examples or citations pulled from your uploaded sources, and conclusion points. You can refine it further. For that, you can just type in here as, so you just scroll down a bit and start typing here as, add a counter argument for food chain disruption and press enter. So here is the explanation of that specific point. You are in full control. NotebookLM just speeds up the process. Using AI ethically and knowing its limits. Let me start with a question. Just because AI can do something, does that mean we should let it? NotebookLM and other AI tools can summarize articles, answer questions, even draft essays. But what happens when we start leaning too much on them? Or worse, using them without thinking about where the answers come from? What does ethical use actually mean? Ethical AI use doesn't mean avoiding AI altogether. It means using it in a way that respects academic honesty, intellectual effort, and original thought. Here's what that looks like in practice. Don't copy answers word for word. If you ask NotebookLM to summarize a text, use it as a guide, not your final paragraph. Cite your sources, even when AI helps you find them. If NotebookLM pulls key points from a PDF you uploaded, you are still responsible for citing the original source, not the AI. Be transparent about how you used AI. If you used it to outline your essay or brainstorm ideas, that's okay, but don't pretend every sentence was written on your own if it was not. Understanding the limits of NotebookLM. NotebookLM is powerful, but it's not perfect. Here's what it cannot do. It doesn't understand meaning like a human. It finds patterns, not intent. It can miss sarcasm, misread tone, or oversimplify arguments. It can generate inaccurate or biased content. Even if a summary sounds confident, always double check the original source. Don't assume it's 100% correct. It's limited to what you upload. Unlike web-based AI tools, NotebookLM doesn't pull from the internet. It works within the documents you have added. That's helpful for focused study, but you need to know when to look elsewhere. It won't replace your judgment. AI can help organize ideas or answer questions, but you're still responsible for deciding what's relevant, accurate, or meaningful. Why this matters? When students misuse AI by copying its output without thinking or citing, they're not just breaking rules, they're also robbing themselves of the chance to learn. The goal of using NotebookLM is not to do less thinking, it's to think more clearly. Think of AI as a calculator. It can help, but it doesn't do the learning for you. AI is changing the way we learn, but how we use it is just as important as what it can do. NotebookLM can be an incredible learning partner, but it's not a substitute for critical thinking, original writing, or ethical decision making. You are still the author of your work. Use AI as a tool, not a shortcut, and you will walk away smarter, not just faster. Smart prompting. How to get better answers with better questions. Let me ask you something. If you walked into office hours and said, "Can you just tell me everything about my topic?" How helpful would that be? Probably not very. That's exactly what happens when you ask vague or open-ended questions in tools like NotebookLM. The better your prompt, the better the answer. Why prompting matters? NotebookLM doesn't think like a human. It responds to patterns in the way you phrase your question. So, when your prompt is vague, the response is usually too broad, too generic, or even irrelevant. But when your prompt is focused, the system can zoom in on the right content. Think of your prompt as instructions. The clearer they are, the better the tool performs. What makes a prompt smart? Here's a quick breakdown of what smart prompts usually include. Specific objective. Don't just say summarize. Say what you want to summarize. For example, you just open this notebook and type in here as summarize the 3 main arguments in this file and press enter. So here you can see this is the first one and this is the second one, and at the end it has third point. So this article has been summarized in 3 main arguments. Clear format request. Want a list, paragraph, or table? Say it directly. For example, you just write a prompt in here as list 5 key findings from this article in bullet points and press enter. So here you can see you have 5 different parts in here. The first one, the second one, and the third one is in here. The fourth one is in here, and at the end it has 5th one in here. So you have 5 different points in bullet points. So here you can see this as a bullet point. Define scope. Avoid asking for everything. Narrow it down. For example, you just write a prompt in here as explain the author's argument about climate change in the first paragraph of this document and press enter. So here you can see it says in the first paragraph of the document, this has been explained. Added context. Tell NotebookLM how you're planning to use the answer. For example, you just write in here as give me a summary of this article that I can use in a group presentation on climate change, and press enter. So here's a summary of this entire article that you can use in a group presentation. Types of prompts you can try. Here are a few formats you can build from, depending on your goal. To explore definitions or ideas, you can type, explain the concept using examples from this document. To compare or contrast, compare how this concept is treated in document A and document B. To simplify or clarify, can you explain this idea in simple terms for someone new to the topic? To create study aids, create flashcards from this article's key points. To prepare for the discussion, generate 5 questions I could ask in a class discussion about this text. The more detailed your request, the more precise the result. Pro tips for better prompts. Use document names and page numbers whenever possible. Include keywords like summarize, define, compare, argue, critique, or highlight. Ask one thing at a time. Split big questions into smaller ones. Avoid tell me everything or help me with this. They are too broad. Common mistakes to avoid when using NotebookLM. Have you ever gotten a weird or totally unhelpful response from NotebookLM and thought, this tool just doesn't work? Chances are it was not the tool, it was how it was being used. Mistake 1. Uploading unrelated or unorganized files. NotebookLM works best when the sources in your notebook are relevant to each other. Uploading a mix of random articles, class notes, or unfinished drafts makes it harder for the tool to find patterns or answer your questions accurately. Fix it. Create separate notebooks for different subjects or assignments. Label each file clearly so you and the tool know what's inside. Mistake 2. Asking vague or overloaded questions. Questions like, what does this mean? Or help me with this file are too broad, and stacking 3 or 4 questions into one prompt often lead to scattered or incomplete answers. Fix it. Be specific. Break your request into smaller parts. Try asking one thing at a time and build from there. Mistake 3. Not reading or checking the source yourself. NotebookLM is not a substitute for reading. If you rely completely on its summaries without reviewing the original document, you could miss context, misinterpret tone, or end up with shallow understanding. Fix it. Use NotebookLM as a starting point, not the final word. Always skim the actual document, especially for assignments that involve close reading or analysis. Mistake 4. Ignoring citations and attribution. If you use a quote, idea, or summary that NotebookLM helped you find, but you don't cite the original source, that's academic dishonesty, even it was unintentional. Fix it. Whenever NotebookLM refers to a document or extracts content, go back to the source, verify the information, and cite properly. Mistake 5. Expecting AI to think for you. NotebookLM can organize, summarize, and explain, but it doesn't know what you're trying to argue, prove, or understand. That's your job. Fix it. Use AI to support your thinking, not replace it. Stay engaged, question the results, and make the final call yourself. Keeping your notebooks clean, clear, and searchable. Let me ask you this. Have you ever opened a digital folder, looked at a list of files like File, Notes, V4, Updated, Real, and immediately felt lost? Using NotebookLM should make your academic life easier, not more cluttered. But if your notebook is filled with poorly named files, duplicate documents, or unorganized content, even the best AI features won't save you. Why notebook hygiene matters? NotebookLM is a smart tool, but it's still only as effective as the structure you give it. Messy notebooks lead to 3 major problems: slower workflows, confused summaries, missed information when searching. Think of your notebook like a workspace. A cluttered desk might look busy, but it slows you down. Tip 1. Use descriptive file names. One of the easiest ways to keep things searchable is to rename every file with a clear, specific title. For example, when you just click in here you can see you have renamed this file with this name as the impact of artificial intelligence on future of cybersecurity, so that it's easier for you to search every file when you need it. And when you just go back and you just open, for example, this one, Here you can see we have renamed this file as AI and Cybersecurity, Lecture Notes by Sir Stephen. And this is gender gap. Avoid file names like notes.docs, scan.pdf, chapter 2 final.pdf. Instead, try Professor Lee Lecture, Week 4, Global Trade, UNHCR Report, Refugee Data 2023, Chapter Summary, Theories of Social Change. Consistent naming helps both you and NotebookLM understand what each file contains, especially when you're pulling quotes or asking questions about a specific source. Tip 2. Group files by topic or purpose. If you're working on a research paper, keep only the relevant readings in that notebook. Don't mix biology class notes with your philosophy readings in the same space. For example, here you can see we have created different notebooks for different purposes. This is for climate action, and this is for AI's impact on cybersecurity, and this is for criminology. And these have different file names as well for the specific purpose. Create separate notebooks for different classes or semesters, individual projects or papers, ongoing versus completed assignments. You can also rearrange your sources within each notebook. Think of it like setting the chapters in a book. What comes first should make sense for the task at hand. Tip 3. Clean up old or unused content. Not everything you upload needs to stay forever. After you finish an assignment or realize a document is outdated or irrelevant, remove it. Fewer files mean faster results, less confusion, and more straightforward navigation. Ask yourself, am I still using this source? Is it helping me answer questions or just taking up space? Can I archive it in a separate notebook if I want to keep it for later? Think of cleanup as part of your regular digital study routine. Tip 4. Use notebook descriptions or notes. Although this feature may be easy to overlook, adding a brief description at the top of your notebook or even writing a note inside your source can help you remember the purpose of the notebook. For example, when you just open this notebook, and here you can see you have note option in here, and you can just type in here as, you can name that note, for example, key points, and you just type in here as, for example, in bullet points, and it's about artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity, opportunities, and challenges. And you can have as many notes as you want to. And go back to Studio, and here you can see you have notes in here as key points, the name you have given it. Or you can write things like, this notebook is for my final paper on gender policy in South Asia, or organized by weekly readings for EDU 301. This helps future use stay on track without having to scroll through and guess. Clean notebooks are not about being neat for the sake of it. They're about staying focused, working faster, and getting better results from your tools. The more intentional you are with how you set up and manage your NotebookLM workspace, the more helpful it becomes. Think of your notebook like a tool chest. If everything's on the right place, you can build anything.